Morning. As you can see, I'm pretty bloody tired. We managed to make it to the car show in the end yesterday. Wasn't too bad, but we'll talk about a few little mishaps what I had along the way. So, roll the intro. So yeah, we made it to the show in one piece. Pulled up, cleaned the car up and everything, went for a wander. Everything was good at the show. At the end of the show, probably should have checked for coolant again. Should have burped the system and just had a look at it, because I hadn't had too much of an inkling anything was going wrong, but it was still occasionally dripping a little bit of coolant out the back. Now, on the way home, young lad in the 306 pulled up beside me, and his partner was doing rolling shots of the Sedan, so I'll drop them in here now. But yeah, of course, as you can see, I could not resist playing into it, so I put it straight up into 5th gear, hardest pull I could to really load some black smoke out the back. I let off very quickly because with all the boost building and everything like that, the clutch slipped straight away. It didn't slip again on the rest of the journey home. I literally think it's just because I loaded the torque up so much on it. At the end of the day, these clutches will slip like mad if you don't roll into the power. So instead, I demanded straight away full torque from the clutch. So I paid the price. It slipped. Any other time, driving through the gears, absolutely fine. But yeah, back to my issues. At the end of the show, didn't check my coolant level. Should have checked it before leaving, really. Driving away from the show, coolant temperature just was not coming up at all. So I quickly pulled over before I left the actual premises, popped the radiator cap open, and what coolant was left in there pretty much instantly boiled. So that was an issue. Quickly jammed the cap back on before it exploded out the top. And then, I don't know if it was a silly choice, but I chose to drive the rest of the way home like it. So at that point, when I opened the cap, I saw the radiator was about halfway full. It wasn't until I got home, like the coolant temperatures on the drive home, up, down, up, down, up, down. I didn't really learn the full extent of the problem until I pulled up, which was I stuck the car in the garage last night and stuck a piece of cardboard underneath it, come back to it after it had cooled off and everything, popped the cap, still a fair amount of pressure in there. Had a look at the cardboard underneath, absolutely saturated. So, don't really know where to turn from here. Now, I'm really hoping I haven't done another water pump again. So, the mechanical seal failed on the back of the water pump the last time. The bearing was okay, but yeah. From what I saw, and I'll drop the video in now. So from what I saw there, it looks like the leak is coming from the manifold block again on the back. So I have tightened those Jubilee clips up to buggery. Over tightened them, to be fair. I wouldn't be surprised if I've now damaged the worms on the clamps, or if the hoses themselves have been cut into by the Jubilee clips. So another revelation I've made is I've realised I've got the wrong pressured cap on the radiator. So I've got a 2 litre HDI cap on there, which is a 1.4 bar pressure, and an XUD system should only have a 1 bar pressure. Now, I didn't think this would make too much difference, but the amount of pressure I'm getting in that radiator is now starting to make me wonder. So one theory is it could still be air locking. I bled that system, but it just, I don't think it's quite that. It could be drawing in air, obviously, from where the coolant is leaking. You have the system under pressure for a reason, because air will cause it to boil quicker. So that's the idea of the system being pressurized, but the top hose is expanding quite a bit as well. So I'm thinking it could be head gasket, but I do want to explore everything else first. So what I've come down to the unit today to do is pretty much, I'm going to measure up some new hoses on the back of the engine. I'm just going to replace everything again. I'm going to go all silicone down the back. Going to get a new lower radiator pipe just to be safe, because I see that was leaking slightly from the Jubilee clip. I don't know if it's got an internal slip, because when I was looking at it, you can sort of see the cotton braid and the reinforcement on the inside of the pipe. You can see where the Jubilee clip is, but that cotton braiding is absolutely soaked in coolant. So it could be like an internal slip from where I've over tightened it, and it's bleeding through the actual cotton itself. So I'll put a new lower radiator pipe on, see about that. Another theory is it could be a jammed thermostat. So thermostats are a bit of an issue to try and find for these 306s. I'm gonna buy a couple of different options just to make sure I try and get the right one. The coldest thermostat I can find for it is 83 degrees. Not too happy about that running temperature. I would rather have something around the 79, but it looks like that's custom fitment thing. So when it arrives, I'll make the decision whether or not I just drill like a 3mm pilot hole to increase bypass flow. But yeah, so we'll explore the thermostat and then go from there really. If beyond that it's something else, then we know full well it's a head gasket again. So I'm really hoping and praying it's not a head gasket, but it's not cracked head. She is on ARPs, so it should be easy to do a head gasket. But at the same time, it's going to be an engine back out now because of the way the turbo, the induction, and everything like that is stacked up. So yeah, I want to try and get it through show season if it is a head gasket gone, and do it towards winter, but we'll see how that pans out. So for now, I'm going to go over to one of my other spare engines, whip the thermostat out, we'll have a quick look at that. I'm not going to run a second-hand thermostat, I want to run a brand new one, but I just want to get some shots of it, so I know for when I go home, and I'll measure up some of these pipes too. Right, so on the back of this engine, these are the two pipes I want to look at replacing in silicone. This one's reducing style, and I think this U-bend is reducing style as well. I can find these brand spanking new OEM made by Gates, but I cannot find this one for love nor money. So I'm going to see if I can spec them both out in silicone. If I can, great. If I can't, I don't really know what to do about this one. Now, I did also replace this manifold block for a metal version. I don't actually know if that's coming back to bite me on the arse, and because like the fitment between this and this pipe was actually ever so slightly off, so it was kinking this pipe over. So I might actually have to go back to a genuine plastic housing. Didn't want to do it, but at the same time, it looks like I probably shouldn't have tried swapping it from an XUD11, to be honest. Now, I've just quickly pulled that off so I can measure these hose pipes up. But another theory I've just had, and I'm really hoping it isn't, I've just noticed there's a core plug up here as well. And this is right where all my leaks at the moment seem to be coming from. So I'm actually hoping the core plug hasn't failed. I've never actually seen one of these fail on an XUD, but there's always a first time for everything, and I seem to be pushing all the firsts just lately. Okay, well that's pretty much everything I needed to look at for today. I can go away, I can now start researching some part numbers and stuff like that, see if I can find these replacement hoses. see if I can find a suitable thermostat or anything like that which will work better on this XUD engine, and then hopefully we can start making moves again on sorting some of the problems out on this sedan. One of the other major issues I've got as well is the amount of air draw I've still got on the fuel system. So with the 11mm pump, she's demanding a lot of fuel, and she's pulling a lot of, well, attempting to pull a lot of fuel from the tank. Now this is generating a few issues, which is there's air getting in from somewhere. So the way to look at that, I suspect it's going to be, ooh, nearly tripped over. I suspect it's going to be the fuel filter housing is letting air in, but for it to draw air in the first place, that means that's got to be the weakest link, because it's trying to draw too hard from the fuel tank itself. So it could be a blocked strainer, could be anything like that. The way to go really would be upgrade all the fuel lines to 10mm. I'm pretty certain they are 10mm all the way, but I will need to double check that. And then to eliminate this fuel filter issue, I've got two choices really. I can either keep with the OEM filter, buy a new housing. I've seen a couple of genuine ones on eBay at the moment, but they're astronomical money. There's a company, I think it's Top Van, is making aftermarket ones which ship from Lithuania. It's about half the price of the genuine one, which is listed on eBay at the moment, so I am a little bit tempted. But to make that work properly, I would have to then fit a lift pump, an electronic lift pump. Again, the sedan, I've been trying to keep it simple. I would rather it just be raw mechanical, so I don't know if that's going to be the way to go. I'm due in on night shift tonight, so that's usually when I do most of my research, to be fair. I need to try and get these parts ordered ASAP as well, because I've only got this weekend free, and then the next weekend I've actually got to have it ready for yet another car show. So the heat is on. She's drivable with the air ingress at the moment. I can't put the pedal to the floor. So if I put the pedal to the floor, it seems to either be emptying the fuel filter housing, or it could be emptying the actual pump itself. And it's basically like hitting a brick wall. The engine will go to hiccup, try and stall, and if you take your foot off the throttle, it will refill itself and off you can go again like normal. So it's just the fuel demand it can't keep up with at the moment. It's not so bad. I can work around that, and driving it steadily to the show and back proved that in terms of fueling it was all right. The main one is I need to get on top of this coolant issue. My next show is even further away, so I had a 2.5 hour drive the other day. The next one I think is 3.5, maybe 4 hours, and I can't risk it again. I'm already in the fear factor that I may have popped the head gasket. So when it instantly boiled, when I popped the cap off, by the time I got back inside the car, I already had the fans running, I already had the interior heaters running, because I've been doing that anyway to try and assist bleeding the system. But the temperature gauge jumped instantly to 90. Now, anyone who knows the old 306 temperature gauges, they're inaccurate as fuck. So for all I know, when that read 90, that was at 100. And anyone who knows an XUD, once they've hit 100, it's usually head gasket gone, even with ARPs, even with the multi-layer head gasket. So yeah, not too excited or enthralled to be doing this one again, especially because that manifold block is a fucking nightmare to get on. So sorry for all the waffling at the moment. Now I'm going to go home. I might quickly shoot a video of underneath the car so I can show you in the garage just how much coolant is laid underneath it. But yeah, cheers for your patience, and we'll start cracking on with this again properly soon. Right, so in true fashion, I've completely forgotten to film anything. But, so where we're at with the coolant issue. Replaced the water pump the other day, double checked it today, it's still not leaking, that's grand. Obviously when we parked the car up the other day, it pissed all of the coolant out of the manifold block at the back, so I'm now in the process of changing that back to a plastic one. Wherever I've got one down here. So the main differences what I spotted between the metal one and the plastic one is the metal one doesn't have this lovely lip on it. And if you look on the plastic ones, the lip is uniform all the way around. There's no gaps in it, no nothing. So these, in theory, should seal up a hell of a lot better. Still don't like the fact it's on an O-ring at the back, but obviously most of these XUD engines come with them, so they can't really be that bad. I think they maybe get brittle with age, but again, it wasn't a problem before until I changed it. So now going back to the original plastic one, so we'll just go underneath and we'll ignore the oil leak from the vacuum pump at the moment. But if you look up there, you can see I've started undoing bits and pieces, but the access is bloody dog shit. So easiest way I can see is literally dropping the drive shaft out. That'll get the CV out the way there, and it'll give me a clear shot on all the bolts which are hidden up here. Probably could get a 13mm and struggle, but again, I'm going to end up struggling. Can't be bothered with it today. I just want to get the job done nice and easily. So I did buy all new lower radiator pipes and stuff as well, but looking at the condition of this one, it actually, well, okay, you can't see because I haven't got a light on, but it hasn't torn or anything like that in the end here. So I'm probably going to leave that because we all know how much of a sod they are to get the seal up, and we'll just go from that. So I also think maybe I've solved the pressurising issue, so I'll shoot to another video in a second. So as you can see, last night I put it on a sniff tester to test to see if I had any combustion gases coming into the coolant system, because this top hose was getting really rock solid. Now, one thing I didn't really anticipate or realise until I started researching it was the radiator caps. So I think the radiator cap's in the boot. Is it in the boot? Is it down here? Potentially in the boot. So the radiator cap which was on it is far too stiff for the actual radiator. Here we go. That'd be it. So this one come off a 2 litre HDI, supposed to be a 1.4 bar spring. However, I can't even compress that by hand. Like literally, it's rock solid. It's absolutely ridiculous. To the point of I used to have to lean on it and put my body weight on it, and you can see the indent in the seal. It's just mental how tight that was. This one, nice loosey-goosey. You can still feel that it makes a seal on there, but it's so much easier to put on. And I wonder if this was part of my problem with the pressurising coolant. So the theory being that obviously air expands more than coolant. So if the system couldn't burp itself and let the excess air out as the engine come up to temperature, the air in the system was expanding and making this hose pipe rock solid. Potentially what caused my first water pump to fail, which it failed and leaked from the mechanical seal in the back there. And then potentially it's found the next weakest link, which was the piss poor flanges on the manifold block at the back, and then it's leaked through there. So potentially it has saved everything, but I'm yet to find out if it was truly that, and hopefully not the head gasket. Again, the other issue with a sniff tester is you can only simulate the engine under load. You can't test it under boost because you're sitting there, you're idling, you're revving it up, but you're technically not under boost, which if it's head lift or a cracked cylinder head, it might only open up whilst you're on boost. So after I've done all this, I am going to top the system back up and I'll do one final sniff test. Fingers crossed, it could just be the cap which has solved it after all this. I did also buy a brand new thermostat in case, but thinking about it, when she's idling, when I'm driving her normally and everything, I can see the temperature comes up and it does gently come back down again. So I don't think it's the thermostat gone. The thermostat is very obviously working. But yeah, so we'll crack on, we'll get the drive shaft out in a second, get that manifold block off and get it all swapped over. So that's the metal manifold block now off, and what I was saying about the flanges, so you look at them on this side, and yeah, lovely flange there. You flip it over, and there's nothing. There's no ribs on the back here, there's no flange there. The same on this other hose. I think this is literally where all my leaks have been stemming from, because obviously a Jubilee clip will never do up dead circle. You will always have a pinch point in it, but if that pinch point happens to overlap over the back here, well, there's no flange, no lip, it's just never going to seal. I mean, the gasket did a bloody good seal to the block. I couldn't actually pull that off a second ago, ended up having to pry it off. But yeah, I think that's prime example, because when we go back to the plastic and just compare it, I liked the idea of replacing this for metal, but I think it is one of them. They obviously updated the design for a reason, and a bloody good one at that. This didn't leak before, whereas that fucker's failed me, so out with the new, back in with the old, I guess. Right, so you'll have to excuse how loud this is because of the engine ticking over. I will knock the volume down on the video, but as you can see, just doing a sniff test again on the radiator. So I've changed all that manifold down the back and everything, and at the moment we've got the radiator pretty much fucking red hot. So fans are kicking in and out. I'm going to keep my thumb on the overflow here, and yeah, she's still blue, and she's been blue for the last 15-20 minutes of me doing this. So what you're seeing here at the moment is just the excess air coming out of the system as well. I have pretty much bled it up with the cap off, got round all my bleed screws, and yeah, this is literally just the coolant steaming. Usually you have to find that bulb a few times, but seem to be there. And on the upside, absolutely bone dry underneath. So I'm going to sit here for a few more minutes like this. Hopefully that don't turn yellow. If it turns yellow, that means it's detecting combustion gas. If it stays blue, we're all bloody good. But anyway, I need to give this pump a few revs, really try and encourage it to blow some shit through, and we'll see what she does. Okay, so pretty much to finish this off, I believe it's passed the head gasket test, but I still want to monitor things while it's potentially moving airlocks out and stuff like that. Now I've put the softer radiator cap on, I need to make sure this radiator cap's doing its job. But at the same time, I need to visually see that. So what I've done is I've just connected a pipe to the overflow, and I've piped it into a bottle. It looks bodgy as fuck, and I understand that, but this will give me visual reference as to how much coolant it's spitting out, because any coolant it spits, I'll be able to capture and then monitor if it's a regular habit. The biggest thing about these combustion leak detectors when testing for a head gasket, obviously she's sat here idling, she's not under load, she's not under driving conditions, so you can't really load it up on boost like you would if you're driving down the road giving it a full send or something like that. So the combustion leak detector will only get me so far. If I've got a cracked cylinder head, if I've got the head gasket gone, it's not really going to show it up. So yeah, basically this will just allow me to monitor and see exactly what the coolant system's going to do. It's probably going to take a little while of burping itself, so for the first 2-3 journeys I am expecting to see it spit a little bit of coolant and wanting some topped up when it's actually stone cold again. But apart from that, I believe I've solved the leak down the back, so we'll ignore this coolant here. That is actually from me dropping the coolant over there earlier. I didn't do too well catching it in that bucket. But everything, apart from this puddle, looks reasonably dry under there. Touch wood. Where's the wood? Where's the wood? Come on. Touch wood. It's been a bit of a fucking long journey with this one, so it has ended up getting emotional sometimes. Having that water pump go the other week, right before the show, and then it kicking all its coolant out after the show and stuff like that, it's really driven me crazy. I mean, even today, the state of the workshop, and obviously we know, well, you won't know in this video, but in the coming up video, we have obviously got a DW8 with a nice window in there. So we've got other things trying to go on as well. This is supposed to be my works vehicle, and I don't like using the Sedan for daily use. So in one of the other videos, what we've got coming up, we have got a turbo, well, a bit of my tongue, sorry about that. We've got a turbo lump. So one of my many spare XUDs, this one come out of a ZX Volcane, what I scrapped a little while back. And yeah, I didn't really know the history of the engine. Good thing I took the cylinder head off, because it had some real bodgery done to it. Previous owner had put RTV in the head gasket, had cut the head bolts down and not put the spacers back in, and the whole fucking thing's a horror story. But bottom end looks good. Still got to take the sump off, and we've got to inspect the strainer underneath, but as a whole, the actual engine itself looks serviceable. So that's coming up soon. And hopefully we are pretty much at the end for her, and we can actually drive and enjoy it. So yeah, some of these Sedan videos, I feel like they've sucked a little bit. Like we haven't really made no proper headway with her. I mean, yes, we've got the intercooler set up, we've got the GT20 and everything now upped on boost and stuff like that. And hopefully she proves to be reasonably reliable. That only the test of time will tell. And yeah, so hopefully, fingers fucking crossed, it's the end of the saga for her. And that means we move on to other things. Of course, that's now going to take up some more of my time. So yeah, I don't really know what to say about the partner. It's going to be a fun daily. Not going to push it too hard. Stick the 10mm pump on her. Paint the block red. Paint the fucking sound red. Woo! And because I need to recover some money as well. She is on... Oh, you've got a picture of my tits there. She is on ZX Volcane wheels. I bloody hate these things. Irish boys love them. That's great. You can pay me Irish money for them. Mint. But yeah, I'm putting them up for sale. And I'm actually sticking some, what were they? Citroen Cactus wheels. Ugliest things in the world. But I think they're quite quirky, and I quite like them. And they will just about fit in the wheel arches of the van. And yeah, 6.5J. I've got some 16-inch. Got some tyres over here, brand new, ready to go. So we've got a big pile of tyres over there. And we're going to stretch them and make some kind of weirdy stance van, I guess. Don't really know. Don't know how my brain works sometimes. But anyway, I've waffled on enough. So hopefully she's done. Hopefully it's the end of that. If anyone's got a lovely bonnet liner for an on-turbo for like a petrol or something like that, hook a fella up. I'd like to actually get rid of the intercooler one, so I might even sell it. If one of you guys are looking for a pretty nice one, a pretty nice condition one, I think there's one tear in it. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I managed to get this one for new somehow. Yeah, caught on the pump once there. I think I had to cut it out. Oh, we've got one catch mark there. So apart from that, it was brand new, which is frustrating. But yeah, when my face comes back, there we go. Cheers for watching, guys. I'm going to go tidy up. Give us a like and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. Give us a few comments. And I will see you next time when we are working on the shipwreck. So, catch you later, gang.